Imagine for a second that you are, well, staring at a single piece of paper, and you're looking for the ultimate hyper-distilled secret to human metabolism.
Oh, that sounds like a tall order.
Right? Because you've waded through all the usual noise by now, the biochemical pathways, the intricate fasting schedules, the endless lists of contradictory superfoods.
All the stuff that just makes you want to give up.
Exactly. You are totally exhausted by the fire hose of information. You really just want the answer. And on this piece of paper, instead of a dense, 500-page textbook, you find exactly one 25-word sentence.
Just one sentence.
Just one single sentence. But here's the catch. To unlock the secret, you don't just read it once. The author demands that you read that exact same string of words 66 times in a row.
See, that forces a completely different kind of engagement, doesn't it?
It really does. It's jarring.
Yeah, because when you are handed a document that visually resembles like a mantra or, I don't know, lines written on a chalkboard by a student in detention.
Oh my gosh, yes, I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class.
Right, exactly like that. Your brain actually resists it at first.
Yeah.
We are so conditioned by modern health marketing to expect a complex 50-page breakdown of enzymes and hormones and whatever else.
So true. We want the science-y graphs.
We crave the graphs. So when you're confronted with this aggressive, unapologetic minimalism, it almost feels like a trick. Like, where's the rest of it?
Okay, let's unpack this because the document we are tearing apart for you today is actually not a trick.
Not at all.
It is a masterclass in stripping away diet culture noise. Our mission for this deep dive is to take this single, incredibly dense sentence, the one repeated those bizarre 66 times, and really perform a forensic word-by-word analysis.
We're going to really get into the weeds.
So totally, because by the end of this, you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of the exact relationship between diet, lifestyle, and your metabolism. Absolutely no fluff.
And, the architecture of that single sentence is incredibly deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it reads deceptively simply, but the author is carefully dismantling decades of health industry marketing with just a few very specific nouns and verbs.
Well, let's put the text on the table so you listening at home or wherever you are know exactly what we are working with today.
Good idea. Lay it out.
So the title of the document is really bold. It says, Foods that Boost Metabolism Naturally.
A very classic hook.
Very classic. But beneath that title is the sentence. It reads, Protein-rich foods, legumes, green tea, spices, and whole foods can complement an active lifestyle and support normal metabolism as part of healthy habits.
And that's it.
That is the entire text, copied and pasted 66 times.
It's wild.
So before we even get into the specifics of the actual foods listed, we need to address the glaring contradiction that's just staring us right in the face.
You mean the tension between the headline and the body copy?
It is massive. I mean, the title of this document promises foods that boost metabolism naturally, and that word boost is like the holy grail of fitness marketing.
Oh, absolutely. It's practically written in neon lights in every supplement aisle.
Exactly. But when you move down into the actual sentence, that aggressive marketing just completely vanishes.
It's gone.
It's totally gone. The text doesn't say these foods boost anything. It retreats into this highly cautious, super precise claim. It just says they support normal metabolism.
And what's fascinating here is the deliberate bait and switch.
Bait and switch. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, the title uses the vernacular of modern consumerism just to get you through the door.
Yeah.
Right? We have been trained over years to crave a boost.
We all want the boost.
Right. And the psychology of a boost implies a spike, an elevation way above your baseline, this sort of superhuman state where your body becomes this effortless fat-burning furnace.
Yes.
But the actual text, the truth of the document, grounds you immediately. It shifts from the language of a salesperson to the language of an architect.
I have to be honest, reading the phrase support normal metabolism initially felt like a huge letdown for me.
Really? Why is that?
Well, because I don't want a normal metabolism. I want a fast one. I want a hyper-efficient one. When I see boost, my brain expects like a high-octane action movie.
Lots of explosions.
Right. Car chases, explosions, a complete transformation montage. But reading the sentence itself is like sitting down in the theater and realizing you are actually watching a slow, very thoughtful documentary about like laying a concrete foundation.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The documentary is what actually builds the house.
Okay, fair point.
Think about the word support in a structural context, right? You support a load-bearing wall so the roof doesn't cave in. You don't boost a bridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, think about it. A boosted bridge is a bridge that is vibrating at a frequency it just wasn't designed for, which, eventually leads to structural failure.
That reframes it completely for me. A boost is actually a stressor.
Exactly. It implies pushing a system well beyond its sustainable capacity. And that really brings us to the word normal.
Which is kind of a dirty word in the fitness world now.
It really is. The health and wellness industry has effectively pathologized the concept of normal. We are constantly sold this idea that our baseline is flawed or it's sluggish and it's in desperate need of constant hacking.
Yeah, we're always trying to fix it.
But in biological terms, normal is a state of profound homeostasis. It means your system is successfully regulating temperature, it's repairing cellular damage, and it's converting fuel to energy without unnecessary friction.
That sounds pretty great when you put it like that.
It is great. The text isn't promising to artificially spike your heart rate. It is literally just promising to provide the exact raw materials required to keep the machine running as it was designed to run.
Which is such a vital distinction for you to carry into your daily life. Like when you are navigating the grocery store or scrolling through a feed that's just full of hyperbolic health claims, you really have to look past the neon headline.
You have to read the back of the package.
Right. If a product promises a magical boost, flip the bottle over. Look for the fine print. Because the fine print almost always brings it back to reality, just like this sentence does.
Because the fine print acknowledges that we cannot outsmart the basic engineering of the human body. We can only really maintain it.
So knowing that the realistic goal is just supporting that miraculous normal baseline, let's look at the toolbox the author actually gives us.
What's it?
The sentence lists 5 specific pillars. It says, protein-rich foods, legumes, green tea, spices, and whole foods.
On the first read, I gotta admit, it feels like a somewhat chaotic grocery list.
Oh, here's where it gets really interesting, because my brain immediately tripped over the grammar and the categorization of this whole list.
Yeah? How so?
I found myself wanting to take a red pen to the author's work. First, we have protein-rich foods, followed immediately by legumes. It feels totally redundant.
Ah, I see what you mean.
Like, aren't legumes protein? Is it because we're so culturally obsessed with meat-based protein that we somehow forget plant foundations? Or am I just reading way too much into that separation?
No, I think that is a very sharp reading of the text's intent, actually.
Really?
Yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to consider how modern diet culture operates. The author isn't just listing foods randomly. They're drawing a psychological map of our current dietary biases.
Okay, a psychological map. Say more about that.
Well, by explicitly separating legumes from general protein-rich foods, the text refuses to let plant-based foundations just be absorbed and forgotten within a category that most people immediately associate with, chicken breasts and whey powder.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It forces legumes to hold their own ground.
Exactly.
It's almost saying, yes, you need protein, but you also specifically need this entirely different category of sustenance.
Right, it elevates them.
But then the list takes this wild turn. We go from these big foundational macros to hyper-specific trendy items, green tea and spices.
The hacky stuff.
The hacky stuff. And just when you think the whole document is going to be about trendy micronutrients, the author throws in the most massive overarching category of all whole foods right at the very end.
It's a huge shift in scale.
It feels structurally jarring to read. It's like telling someone, hey, to survive in the wild, you need a pocket knife, some lint, a compass, pepper, and a fully stocked sporting goods store.
That is hilarious, but you're spot on. But that structural whiplash is the entire point.
Wait, really? It's on purpose.
Absolutely. The author is deliberately playing with the hierarchy of how we consume health information. Think about the isolation of green tea and spices there. What happens when a new diet trend hits the internet?
People go crazy for the weirdest little things.
They do. People latch onto the most exotic, specific elements because they feel like these secret weapons that no one else knows about.
I am completely guilty of this. I once bought a $40 jar of some supposedly ancient metabolism-boosting spice blend.
Oh, no.
$40. $40. I was fully convinced it was the missing link to my health. I was sprinkling it on everything, totally ignoring the fact that the rest of my diet was a complete disaster at the time.
But we all fall into that trap. We really do. Because the quote-unquote hack requires the least amount of behavioral change.
Right. Shaking some spice on a frozen pizza is easy.
Exactly. The text acknowledges these microelements, the spices in green tea, because they are part of the cultural conversation. But look at where they are placed in the sentence.
Okay, let me look.
They are sandwiched tightly between legumes and whole foods. The author is taking the trendy hacks and trapping them inside massive, undeniable dietary foundations.
Oh, wow. It is a textual sandwich.
A textual sandwich. I like that.
It is essentially saying to the reader, fine, have your green tea, enjoy your expensive spices, but do not kid yourself into thinking they mean anything at all if they aren't enveloped by whole foods.
Precisely. The broad categories are the scaffolding. The spices are just the paint. You cannot paint a house that hasn't been built yet.
That's a great way to put it.
By putting whole foods at the very end of the list, the sentence dramatically zooms all the way out. It drops a massive anchor that retroactively contextualizes everything that came before it. It leaves the reader with absolutely nowhere to hide. You cannot micromanage a bad diet with green tea.
You cannot micromanage a bad diet. That needs to be on a billboard somewhere.
It really does.
And this is exactly why we do these deep dives for you. A single sentence read quickly is just a grocery list. But when you slow down and force yourself to sit with the syntax, it becomes a meticulously crafted blueprint.
Because the micro tools only function when the macro environment is secure.
Which naturally brings us to the condition that governs this entire ecosystem we're talking about. Because the food itself is not the final answer.
No, it's not. Far from it.
The author refuses to let the food do all the work here. Let's read the back half of the sentence, because this is the crucial prerequisite for any of those 5 pillars to actually matter.
Right, the fine print.
The text states, these foods can complement an active lifestyle and support normal metabolism as part of healthy habits.
The verb choice here completely dismantles the illusion of the magic pill.
I want to focus on that word complement because it is doing an incredible amount of heavy lifting in this sentence.
It really is.
It destroys the idea that you can just consume a bowl of lentils and a cup of green tea while sitting on the couch for 14 hours and still expect to see these amazing results.
Which is what everyone secretly hopes for.
Obviously. I was trying to think of how to visualize this, and I kept coming back to music.
Okay, music. Let's hear it.
Eating these 5 foods without an active lifestyle is like assembling an orchestra of world-class musicians, giving them the absolute finest instruments, and then refusing to give them sheet music or a conductor.
Right. I mean, the instruments are capable of making noise on their own, certainly. But they cannot produce a symphony without the kinetic energy of the conductor bringing them together in time and space.
Yes, the food is the instrument, but the active lifestyle is the conductor. If you just have the food, you literally just have noise.
That's a beautiful way to frame it.
Or, to use a more mechanical idea, it's like buying a set of premium high-performance racing tires for a car that is permanently parked in a garage.
Yeah, the tires are objectively excellent.
Right. But if the car never actually moves, the quality of the rubber is entirely irrelevant.
This raises such an important question about how we view dietary effort. Very often, people seek out specific foods to replace the need for physical effort.
We want a shortcut.
We want the green tea to do the work of a brisk walk. We want the $40 spice blend to do the heavy lifting of a real workout.
So true.
The word complement is a massive stop sign to that kind of thinking. In geometry, an angle's complement is what it needs to become a perfect 90-degree right angle.
Oh, bringing out the math now.
I know. But it's the missing piece that creates wholeness. The diet does not replace the activity. The diet completes the activity. They're utterly synergistic.
They complete each other. You cannot out-eat a sedentary lifestyle, no matter how perfectly you follow the 5 pillars of that list.
You really can't.
And then the author twists the knife one final time at the very end of the sentence. As part of healthy habits. Plural. Habits with an S.
Notice how that framing shifts the burden entirely. It broadens the scope far beyond just the kitchen and the gym.
It really opens it up.
If the foods merely support metabolism as part of healthy habits, it implies an entire constellation of behaviors.
It brings in everything else. Sleep.
Stress management.
Hydration. Whether you are staring at a screen until 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
The text frames the food not as the entire picture, but merely as one puzzle piece fitting into a much larger mosaic of human behavior.
For a document that is so short, it is incredibly demanding of the reader. It demands total lifestyle context.
But at the same time, I think it is the ultimate reality check.
How so?
Well, for you listening, if you ever feel paralyzed by the sheer volume of nutrition advice out there, this is honestly the most liberating realization you can have.
Oh, absolutely.
These foods don't have to do all the heavy lifting. They aren't the sole directors of your health. They're just the supporting cast. They are meant to complement your existing life. It takes an enormous amount of pressure off the literal plate in front of you.
It places the agency firmly back in your hands.
Yes.
You are not at the mercy of finding some secret, ancient superfood combination that's going to save you. You are the architect of your daily habits, and the food is simply the mortar between the bricks of those habits.
Okay, we have completely torn this 25-word sentence down to the studs.
We really have.
So what does this all mean for you moving forward?
I think it means letting go of the frantic, exhausting search for a metabolic boost. It means embracing the quiet, highly effective work of supporting a normal, healthy baseline.
Which is boring but true.
Exactly. It means recognizing that tools like spices and legumes are fantastic, but they only function when anchored by whole foods and protein. And above all, it means accepting that no diet works in a vacuum. It must complement movement and a wider ecosystem of healthy habits.
It strips away all the anxiety-driven marketing and leaves you with just the bare essentials. Which brings me to one final, lingering thought for you to mull over today.
Okay, what is it?
We spent this entire deep dive deconstructing a single sentence, but we have to return to the most bizarre formatting choice of the source document. The fact that this sentence was printed 66 times in a row.
Right, the visual repetition, the
Temper-
chalkboard mantra we talked about.
When I first saw that number, 66, it nagged at me. Why not 50? Why not an even 100?
It's a very specific number.
Very specific. And then it hit me. In psychological literature, there is a very famous, widely cited study suggesting that on average, it takes exactly 66 days to form a new habit.
Wait, really? 66 days?
66 days of repetition for a behavior to become automatic.
Oh, wow. So the author isn't just trying to make a point about diet. They are actually trying to initiate a behavioral protocol.
Exactly. In a world completely obsessed with finding a shiny, incredibly complex new health secret every single morning, what if the ultimate secret to your well-being isn't learning something new at all?
That's a powerful thought.
What if it is simply finding one slightly boring, deeply foundational truth, like the sentence we just unpacked, and repeating it over and over and over again, reading it 66 times, living it for 66 days.
Until it just becomes second nature?
Until it stops being a sentence you were trying to understand and finally becomes a habit you simply live.
The discipline of repetition might honestly be the only real quote-unquote hack that actually exists.
The discipline of repetition. Think about your foundation, keep the conductor in front of the orchestra, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.